Hello, Gemini. This is going to be your July August part one. I hope you guys are doing well during your Mercury retrograde. It's now in Cancer. So it's transiting about 29 to 28 degrees. So you guys might be feeling very business savvy. You could be feeling, you could just be feeling the effects of business or work and home life. For you, it is your second house of earned income. So you might be going back and looking over some details of some finances or some plannings that you've made in terms of, just kind of like processing things and getting things done. The retrograde will be over at the end of the month. It should be stationed direct on the 30th or the 31st. Um, and then maybe 2 weeks after that, we'll really feel the momentum pick up. Towards the middle of August, getting through the retrograde, which is wonderful because Mercury will be direct for Virgo season, and we need that. I have Mercury in Virgo. Your cards have been laid out. I'm using the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, which is actually a wonderful astrology oracle deck that I've been using for you all. And everyone, every sign. And I'm just getting more acquainted with it. And so I'm here using it for you guys today. So the first card that, popped out actually for you when I was shuffling this originally is excitement. And this is Mercury in Gemini. And we were just talking about that. And it's representative of the third house. And it's also representative of Venus, right? Because esoterically, that alarm. But yes, this card is talking about just being interested and staying connected and networking and, keeping things fresh. Absolutely. It talks about that. It talks about travel, making connections, being involved with other people, sharing ideas, right? Bringing those ideas into multiplicity once other people get involved and they share their exciting ways of enhancing your ideas. So this is bringing a lot of excitement to you. Things that pop potential on something that type of thing. Music even. Yeah, I'm getting music. Yeah, just a lot of overall excitement and travel. Just make sure you don't get too exhausted and you don't burn yourself. Strategic decisions in terms of getting what you feel like you deserve, right? And what you feel like you've always wanted, that type of thing. Mars and Gemini is talking about being very assertive in making decisions and, also the strategy of everything. If one thing doesn't work out, then that means that you can probably make a U-turn and go in another direction. You know what I mean? You're being very adaptable and you're sort of like riding the wave of change and fluctuations. I feel like things are in flux for you, but then things are definitely moving in a certain direction. You know what I mean? They may even be moving in many different directions, but at least you're moving. And I feel like sometimes, with this excitement that's going on, sometimes you have to you're faced with like just really these are like big decisions almost that like a person who is in charge would be making, or maybe it's kind of like you being the authority and making these strategic decisions, right? And like I said, you're asserting yourself. You have the sun in Aries right here, which is talking about putting yourself out there and bringing focus into your intention, right? And being able to slay those dragons and anything that might come into your way that makes you feel like it's trying to intimidate you. This is you not being intimidated by the experience that you have sort of like prompted in your life, or these uh, experiences that you're having. You have done the work and the effort to make them happen, to initiate them. And even if they feel like they're a little bit overwhelming, or if they feel like these things might be bigger than you in a sense, you still feel like you are bossy enough. You still feel like you are that knight that can slay that dragon. You know what I mean? And this is going to bring you and it comes from the excitement, right? You're excited about the assertion and you're asserting yourself to make very critical decisions, right? And you know that the moves that you make are going to affect the moves that other people make, and that's why you are being very critical, right? You're going to have to be critical here. um, And this could not it may not be that critical. I mean, Mercury is a very critical planet, right? It has to be when you're communicating, because you can let things slip sometimes and maybe the wrong thing comes out, or maybe there might be a mistake at releasing information, right? So you don't want to make a move too soon, because if you make a move too soon on some things, accidentally, right? You want to be assertive, because then it comes from a place of intention, and it's very pointed, right? Very directional. See any Sag in your reading, but you do have Mercury, which is a planet that opposes the house of Sagittarius. Anyway. And I'm also seeing at the top of the reading, we've got publicity. So, you might be excited about, your presence, right? Or you could be excited by the way that people see you, or your status might be growing, right? Because it's Jupiter here. Let me see if I can get you here. It's Jupiter in Leo. Okay, and Jupiter in Leo is very good. This is kind of like getting your notoriety, right? Getting the attention, like I said, doing the things that you feel like you love to do, and getting the attention you deserve from doing those things. It's almost like when you definitely stand in your truth and you allow yourself to fully be who you are at the soul, at the core of you, right? Then that's going to shine through, and then people will actually be able to see that. The public will actually be able to see that you are someone that cares about yourself and cares about other people as well. And that is actually what gets you publicity, because it's kind of like, the public has to relate to you in a way. This is for those of you out there who are trying to give publicity, because this is Jupiter and Leo. Hello, this is like wanting to be seen, right? So you could be putting yourself out there in a bigger way. You could be committing to a new way of being you, right? And it's just a new frame of mind. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily like you changing your person, but it's just kind of like you really fully stepping into your vitality, right? And people are going to be able to see that you're doing well, and they're going to appreciate that, and it's going to make them feel good about themselves too. For some reason, that's just how it works. And then right next to that, you have Jupiter in Gemini, and I was just talking about how Mercury opposes Sagittarius, right? The house that Mercury rules, Gemini, opposes Sagittarius, the house that Jupiter rules. So this is Jupiter being in Gemini. Jupiter expands things. Gemini, is kind of like making these connections and turning switches on and off, and communicating and saying things, right? It's verbalization. So sometimes the expansiveness of what someone is saying, it's like their words are bigger than the actuality of whatever it is that they were sort of like saying, right? So because this card is bluff, so you could be bluffing yourself or someone else could be bluffing you, right? And you might be calling someone's bluff. You might actually know that they are bluffing. So it's kind of like with this card being here and this being the card that is bluff, right? And then also you have a card here that says decision, right? And you see the chess game, right? Usually people are bluffing in chess games because they want you to make the move that they want you to make, not the one that's going to be best for you to make. Hmm. Whoa, is that tea? Anyway, so you have Moon and Cancer here at the top too, and this is talking about stability in friends and stability in friendships. The Moon is emotion and its feelings, and you know, the moon is also a nurturer. It also talks about your body, and it talks about evolution. So your friendships could be evolving, right? And you're nurturing them in a way that is appropriate for the way that they have evolved. You are also experiencing a level of deep feeling. Your planet is in Cancer now, and it is retrograde. Cancer is the fourth house. house, and the fourth house talks about emotional security, right? And you're thinking about how your earned income is going to bring you more emotional security and make you just feel more stable all around. It's going to make your life feel more optimistic, right? Your friendships will be reignited because you won't feel like you're working so hard to achieve this thing that you've wanted to achieve this all this time, or trying to reach a goal, or trying to get somewhere with something, right? You're trying to there's some enlightenment here, because for me, Gemini definitely, it's quick connections, but it definitely brings you into your awareness, and as a result of your awareness, you become enlightened. So I feel like this is something that's happening for you, and I think that maybe this could be a friend that's bluffing, or maybe somebody is bluffing. Maybe you feel like a friendship is not the way that it used to be. You know what I mean? And you might have to be asserting yourself in a different way. You know what I mean? To just kind of like keep the harmony here. Because at the bottom of the reading, you have Sun in Libra, which is talking about the harmonization of things. And then you also have discrimination, right? Which is talking about discrimination in relationships, because it's Venus in Virgo. And Venus in Virgo, is talking about being able to appreciate what it is that you have to offer, and therefore not settling for, not less, but what type of person you would like to commit yourself to, or spend most of your time with, or involve yourself with. You know what I mean? That's why Mercury is so important, and this is a Virgo card, which is ruled by Mercury. So you are very up and through this reading, okay? You and Jupiter and Mercury. Um, Gemini, right? Gemini, Virgo. Anyway, it's just talking about being able to experience your life and appreciate it in a way where you don't feel like you need anyone else to validate whatever it is that you have going on, or validate your experience. Sometimes if you're like, well, you're here, so that validates me being here too and having this experience. And it's like, does it really? Like, does this person or this environment or this place that you are, in, make you feel good about yourself? Is this where you should be? Is this accomplishing anything? You know what I mean? You have to think about what's being accomplished, right? And that's what Virgo is also teaching us, right? What is being accomplished in a relationship? Venus, right? Venus is saying, I need to love myself, and I need to be able to, you know, still be me, right? I don't know why I'm saying that, because this is a very like mutable card. But sometimes you might have to change up the dynamic in relationships sometimes, right? Because I have a Venus in Virgo discrimination here next to a Sun in Libra harmony, right? So you might have to be a little bit more discriminate to experience the harmony that you would like to experience for yourself and others as well. This is talking about balance and harmony in a relationship too, 101. It's talking about victories in relationships that you're experiencing harmony in, because you were able to decipher, the real people in your life, and who was actually there for you and was there for meaning and purpose. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes things don't have to have intention, they just have to have purpose. You know what I mean? And those two things kind of go hand in hand. Intention is purpose, and purpose is intention. You know? Um, and you have to be a little bit more discriminate about like how you're about your body. Definitely get in there and do some and show your body some love every single day, even if it's just doing like 50 crunches, 20 push-ups, and then doing like some other stuff too, some stretching, and some squats and lunges, you know what I mean, and some weights, like, just do that. Also, what you're eating, put water into your body. Allow yourself to flourish, let relationships flourish. Sometimes you could be getting in your own way because you're actually not letting a relationship flourish the way that it was meant to flourish. You could be setting expectations too high in a relationship, right? Because you might be expecting someone to be something for you when they're actually meant to be something else for you. But you could be pushing that, you know what I mean? And it's like there's a lot of tension when it's time to make a decision, right? Because Gemini, right? This is Mars and Gemini. This is tense here. You see how tense it gets? And this person coming towards this little tiny hole, and there's a wall here. You know what I mean? You may be even feeling like you hit a wall now, and now it's time to make a decision, right? You know, and it's going to take some strategy for sure to get through that space that you can see is a little bit tight, you know what I mean? But you definitely want to get through on the other side, because it is talking about a victory with the 7 here and the Sun and Libra card, right? And you definitely have to be discriminate when you're making critical decisions and choices that are going to be pivotal in, you know, your next go round, right? Or you just got to keep the energy up, and you got to keep the energy moving, and you got to stay focused and be assertive, right? And you have to be able to call the bluff when the bluff is you know, ringing on the other line, right? You also have Jupiter in Cancer here, which is talking about speculation, right? Jupiter is the growth of something, and Cancer is feelings, right? So the growth of the feelings. So you're the speculation, right? You got speculation down here with harmony, which is Libra, right? Sun and Libra relationships, and then you have discrimination. So your speculation about somebody that you feel like you might actually be into, you might be making you be a little bit more discriminate towards them, right? Just because you might be seeing some things or you might be feeling some things, right? It's almost like, you know, we're all mirrors. Also, you could probably be looking at this person's birth chart. I feel like some of you guys have looked at someone's birth chart and you're like, I don't know, this doesn't seem like it's going to be something like that, you know, it's going to work like this. You could be holding out due to speculation, right? You could be holding out on making a choice to move forward with something, or making a choice to sort of like um, execute something because of your speculation. Um, yeah, and I feel like your speculation is also kind of like you're right. You know what I mean? Because this is Jupiter in Cancer, so this is saying like, damn, you are really experiencing some feelings. You see that there's the eye there, there's a crab there, there's the two people at the top. There's distance between them because of things that are happening within this energy here, and these are all of the planets, right? So it's kind of like zodiacal, and you know this card, and it talks about being able to understand someone's natal energy and determine how compatible you are going to be in a relationship. How harmonious would it be, right? So this is like the compatibility factor in a relationship. It's like Venus is the relationship and Virgo is the discrimination. Are we compatible? I don't know. Do you fit into my schedule? Do you fit into my life? Do we see this working? Will we be causing more trouble than you know, than not? That type of thing. What did you get at the bottom? Endurance. Okay. This is the sun, which is your creative will, your passion, right? The heart of you, right? It's your heartbeat. It's what makes you, you know, it's like you going through these struggles and you going through these fights actually is making you feel alive in a weird way. But you guys are crazy like that, Gemini. Y'all crazy like that. The struggle and the, you know, it's Sun and Scorpio. So this talks about, you know, having fond memories of the past during a struggle that you might be experiencing that you're being tested in. Emotional tests, you know, it could be the strain of something, you feel scorned by something, by life. You know, sometimes life makes you feel, you know, sun. Sometimes, and that 8 is the infinity. You know, it talks about expansion and contraction, right? Because you have to endure being, you know, the expansion and the contraction of things. You don't have a lot of Saturn here, but you do have some Jupiter here. And you do have Mercury, and Jupiter is that feeling of being, and Mercury is little teeny, little moving around. So it's out, you know what I mean? That's kind of like how things are going for you. It's weird. And then, you know, you're feeling like you are really you might even be a little bit exhausted, like spiritually exhausted. It's taking for you to get to the end of something, it's been like the duration of something has been a struggle for you, or the duration of something, right? Because we're all enduring something here collectively, right? And then Scorpio talks about shared resources, and I feel like you might be sharing something with people that you feel like is a resource for you. Um, you might be feeling like uh, you know testing your endurance is making you more resourceful because it's allowing you to see where things are actually possible. And this does talk about transformation, and it talks about becoming something. If Aries is to be and it's ruled by Mars, and Scorpio is transforming and it's about transformation, then it's about becoming something. And to become something is to already have been something. So now we're talking about the duration of something. And now we're talking about enduring something. And then we're talking about getting to the end of a struggle and then you feeling transformed from it. And like, life is really shining down on you and rewarding you because you have made it through whatever it was, whatever that test was. It could be something that you're thinking about right now that you went through 7 years ago, 5 years ago. You know what I mean? 4 years ago. 10, 20. Because when Mercury retrograde in Cancer, and Cancer is talking about, things that you've already gone through over your life, right? Cycles, things like that, things that you have seen, right? All right, this is going to be your part one. It's short, and Gemini, I feel like yours are always a little bit shorter because I try to be, quick with yours. You definitely have a part two, and that's going to be a tarot reading, and that one is probably going to even be more in depth than this one was because, it's tarot, and that was like, my first thing. And this is a new deck, but I love it. It's so beautiful. I love the fresco look of it. But then again, I'm looking at Shanti today from 12 to 4. That address is 230 West 14th Street. Actually, cut. It's 230 East 14th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues in New York City. Near Union Square in the East Village area near NYU dorms. And if you know the Palladium, honey, then you know where we at. Um, Definitely like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Providence Tarot. My personal account is NYC Kendrick. It's not private. What's the point? And I have another account that's Kendrick NYC. And then my food account, my food blog account is The Tongue Pub. Okay? I think that's everything. I appreciate you all for being here with me on this journey. And eclipse season has been interesting. Last year's eclipse season was like I was really struggling and going through it. But now I look back in hindsight, right, and I've seen how I've endured. She was a queen. All right, y'all. Bye.